Okay, looks like we are online. Today, in my office hours, I'm going to talk a little bit about a new program that I have for training, as well as something that I talked with Daniel Vacanti with at the Professional Scrum with Kanban class that we just had on Monday, Tuesday, called continuous forecasting. That can help a software engineering team during their daily scrum and part of sprint planning to figure out more about what's going on. See you in a minute. Naked Agility is available for DevOps and Agile training and consulting. Contact us for a free consultation. Okay, so the things that I want to talk about. First off, I'm here to answer questions every Wednesday at 6 p.m. BST, British Summer Time. I'm going to be trying to keep to that schedule at 6 o'clock on Wednesdays. We'll see how well that goes. I scheduled it deliberately so that it didn't fit on top of any classes that I was doing, but hopefully it will be okay. If you have any questions, please put them. If you're here live, watching live, please add them to the chat stream. I should be able to see chats as you add them. There might be a little bit of a delay, but I should be able to see them. If you want me to answer a question next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m., then please ask the question anyway, and I'll get to it in whatever the next weekly session is. I keep a bunch of stickies here with the questions that I've been asked and what we're going to talk about. And if you have a question that you don't want anybody to know that you've asked, so you want to do an anonymous question, then you can use this link right here and fill out a form. Just one text box. It doesn't ask for any identification, and off you go. So that will be awesome. Remember as well, the easiest way to get to the schedule for this is to use YouTube. So you can go to my channel on YouTube, which you will find by just searching for Naked Agility on YouTube. No problem at all. You might be wondering why I look a little bit weird. You might see my lovely COVID cut, which isn't even. I think I've not even got it even. This was my first attempt at a haircut for myself. I was looking more and more like Limity Snicket from a series of unfortunate events. So I decided that there needed to be some cuttage. Unfortunately, the cut was not super successful. So you can have a nice laugh. In fact, if I do a little spin, you'll see that it's just as bad at the back. And oh my goodness me, I just saw the back for the first time. And yeah, okie dokie. So my wife will hopefully be fixing that at some point. So the things that I want to talk about, I've been teaching all of my classes virtually. We've done 2 PSFs, Professional Scrum Foundation so far, Professional Agile Leadership, and Professional Scrum Master, which I did for a program at Vikling in Oslo, as well as a Professional Scrum with Kanban that I taught on Monday, Tuesday there. So we're kind of getting spun up on the ideas around how do we deliver classes virtually. I've got my setup. Everybody seems to have their own setup, which is fine. It's whatever works for each individual trainer and their students. I've been using Microsoft Teams to manage that, and it's been working really well because, Teams doesn't just have, you're on a call and then you have breakout rooms. It has persistence. It has files. It has permissions. It has a way for me to share and interact with students on a long-term basis. And what I've been doing, when you add a event to a team, everybody in the team's invited. If you're added to the team later, you get invited. So it's really handy for me as a trainer. I can just add people to the team, and then they get all of the things they need to figure out how to join the class, to get in. So what I've been doing is kind of the week before the class, I've been doing a tech check. So that's been sent out, and we've gone over how to connect to Teams correctly, because there is more than one way to connect to Teams. If you just click a meeting link, you're probably coming in as an unauthenticated user, which means you have very restricted permissions. You can participate in the meeting, but you can't access any of the other assets in the organization, which makes perfect sense. However, when I'm running the class, we use multiple channels for breakout rooms. We upload files. We have applications in tabs that give the students some extra information or some extra interactivity. So we need students to come in as an authenticated user, and depending on how they're doing that, depends on how much of a struggle that is. Usually it's perfectly fine if you're somebody who gives me to add the email address that is your corporate identity, same as you would log into Office 365 in your company, then you will just have a completely seamless experience you use your corporate login, and I don't have to have any login details at all, just your email address. You accept the invitation, and then you're able to come in. So that works really well. You effectively just log in the same way that you would if you were coming in from to one of your own corporate systems. So that works great. The other option is people use a Microsoft account, so they already have an Outlook.com or a Xbox.com or a Hotmail address that they've had for many years. They can give me that. They log in with their credentials. I don't need to store any credentials still. They log in with them, and that's fine. And then the third one is you still need a Microsoft account. I actually tried to get onto a Google, the Google Meet the other day, and you have to provide Google credentials. So I have an email address that's enabled for Google, even though it's not a Google email address. And you can do the same thing with Microsoft. So you can take any email address that's not a corporate identity and not currently a Microsoft identity. So it could be, your Gmail account or Yahoo or AOL or whatever that is. And if I add that email address, when you go to log in and claim the identity, will be asked to follow some steps to enable that. It's usually pretty straightforward, but it sometimes just takes a little bit of explaining. So we do a tech check the week before. It's probably 30 minutes, depending on the level of knowledge that users already have with Teams. But I've not had any problems so far teaching all of the classes. The other thing that we go through is Mural. We use a tool called Mural, which is a digital whiteboarding tool. It works pretty well. It has its own idiosyncrasies, just like any tool out there. There's Miro as well as Mural, and there's a couple of other tools out there that folks have been using. Whatever works, as long as I like to be able to provide the output so that the students can continue to go and view the work that was done on those services. So I download the files, upload them to the team, and then students can continue to get access, which is pretty good. The other thing that I've been doing, as well as the tech check before, is something that I'm kind of calling reification, where we're going to work together to solidify some of the ideas. So I've only booked it as an hour at the moment, 2 weeks after the class. Effectively, when you take a class from scrum.org through myself, you get 2 attempts at whatever assessments you get at the end. Assessments, while not being valuable to identify somebody else's skill level. It might be useful in understanding your own skill level and what are the areas where you might want to go read up and figure out. So the idea is that students get 2 weeks to take the assessment. If they fail, they get another attempt, but only if they take it within 2 weeks. So the idea is my reification session, which is just let's discuss the things you don't know, or you've tried to do some things in your organization. What are the problems that you've hit? And just spend an hour hitting on whatever questions folks from that particular class have. So that's a new experiment that I'm running to see if we can't add value there. And I think that will be, it sounds like, I just think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a very easy value add in the circumstance of we're all at home anyway. And I've been booking it over lunchtime, UK time. So I'm going to, be conscious of other people's time zones. So if I'm teaching in PST, Pacific time, then I'm not going to book it at lunchtime my time because you'd still be in bed. But I'm going to do that. So I might experiment with some additional engagements with students after the class, but hopefully this will work out and then we'll be able to add a bunch more. So that comes to the thing that I was going to talk about, which is continuous forecasting. So that's the only thing on my list today. It was something that came up during the Professional Scrum with Kanban. And it's the idea that in the Scrum guide, there is nothing which says you have to plan your whole sprint. It says that you have to have enough of a plan coming out of your sprint planning to get started. That's all you need. You need enough of a plan to get started. Remember, the team's going to inspect their progress towards their sprint goal every 24 hours at the daily scrum, and they're going to adapt that plan as they go. So maybe we don't need to plan the whole sprint and figure out what all the tasks are. Maybe we just need to start with a smaller plan, something, the next couple of days worth of work, and then we're going to build on that as we go. I would maybe take the current day plus 2 more, same as we use with planning in the product backlog. That will allow you to dynamically understand what you can do, and maybe pull extra things into your backlog, maybe push some things out depending on how things are going, and do that dynamically. Now, one of the tools to help with that, it's my belief that professional Scrum teams use the metrics from the Kanban guide for Scrum teams. So they're going to be using throughput, they're going to be using cycle time, they're going to be using work in process, and they're going to be using work item aging. Those are the 4 metrics that every professional Scrum team should be collecting. And if you're collecting that data, you would be able very easily to do for example, a Monte Carlo simulation. I think I have just an example slide with a picture of a Monte Carlo simulation from Daniel's tool. Hey. Did that work? Yes, it did. Let me just put that you want to add to this section, I am happy to take any questions. I see that there, at least I can't see any questions coming in on the channels. Let me see if there's anything in the anonymous. There is not anything new in the anonymous feedback either. I think this will pick up once I get on a regular schedule, but hopefully you found this useful to talk about continuous forecasting and the ideas around having a reification and a tech check for my training. So if you are looking for training, you can go to nakedagility.com. That's where I list all of my training classes. All the classes I'm running at the moment are at scrum.org accredited classes. So the official classes from scrum.org with assessments. So please go there and have a look. If you want a private class, obviously we're not doing on-site classes just now. We can't really go anywhere, but we are doing live virtual classrooms. I'm teaching a PSK, not PSK, a Professional Scrum Foundations class in Dublin next week, and then in Pleasanton, California the week after. So if you want private classes, we can deliver private classes pretty much anywhere in the world in any time zone. We just may need some preparation if it's a crazy time zone. I have one coming up in New Zealand. So that's going to be a very tiring maybe experience, or at least it's going to feel like I've got jet lag for a couple of days as we figure that out. So please get in touch. Obviously, if you want to ask your question anonymously, you can use this link here on the screen, and please subscribe to our channel so that you know when we go live and when we're talking about things. Okay, thank you very much. Naked Agility is available for DevOps and Agile training and consulting. Contact us for a free consultation.